Inside the Magic, show number 467 for March 17th, 2014. It is Monday, March 17th, 2014. This is show 467 of Inside the Magic, and as always, I am your host, Ricky Briganti, with another great show packed with plenty of Disney and theme park news and a whole lot more fun. And before we get to all of it, I invite you to visit our website at InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and plenty more. And if you ever have any news, tips, questions, comments, or anything that you want to send in, you can do so by emailing me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. Escape to your own carefree tropical getaway with Disney Cruise Line and save 20% off prevailing rates on select 3- and 4-night Bahamian cruises sailing from Port Canaveral. Don't let this offer pass you by calling Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387 or visit them online at magicaltravel.com, and be sure to mention Inside the Magic when you do all of that to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And thanks very much to Timothy Camosa and Jeff Beeman for your donations this week, and to all contributors to Inside the Magic. It all supports this show. And now let's get started with a trip around the world. Some exciting MyMagic Plus related news to kick off the news segment this week. Actually, an assortment of MyMagic Plus news. First up, a surprise from Walt Disney World. They made an announcement to travel agents about where sort of MyMagic Plus is headed for the parks out here. So far, Disney has only talked about access to FastPass Plus and that whole system for advanced booking of rides and shows and all of that sort of thing online for hotel guests, Walt Disney World Resort hotel guests, as well as annual pass holders. Well, now apparently Disney has announced plans to offer those services to non-resort guests, off-property day guests who have advanced ticket purchases. So that's going to be, an extra perk for those who aren't staying on property. Some have said, well, that's a perk that you're taking away from resort guests, or you're taking away from annual pass holders. Well, no, not really. I mean, if you think about the FastPass system that's been around for many years, it's been open to everybody, and so I don't see why the new system wouldn't also, or shouldn't also, be that way as well. No reason to have to force somebody to pay more to have access to something that's supposed to improve the overall guest experience, in my opinion. So that doesn't exist right now. So from MyMagic Plus is still rolling out little by little. The day guests, the off-property guests, are going to have to wait. For now, anybody with a ticket can still access all of that when you get to the parks. This is all about the advanced reservations online. And of course, the whole notion of Magic Bands is tied in here a little bit differently as well. If you're staying at a Disney hotel or an annual pass holder, and I'll talk about this more in just a second, or I guess I talked about it last week, where annual pass holders are able to get Magic Bands now. Anyway, if you are any of those categories and you have a Magic Band, you can use that. But you don't have to have a Magic Band to use all of these systems, and those who are not staying on property are not going to get a Magic Band automatically. Disney has said sometime down the line there will be the ability to purchase Magic Bands for those who are staying elsewhere if you want, but you can definitely just use the RFID chip that's in your ticket that you get, and just use that with all of this, to activate the turnstile-free entry and your room key, and just touch to do everything with the card. That's really the way I'm going to do it. I don't really care for the whole idea of the Magic Bands that much. So there is that. Next bit of MyMagic Plus news is actually coming from a survey that listener Robert sent me an email about that Disney has sent out to a variety of guests who have recently stayed at Walt Disney World. Apparently there are some changes coming potentially to the MyMagic Plus system. It is still very much in testing, and Disney's figuring out exactly what the system will be moving forward. One of the biggest complaints in the whole system is that you only have access to choose up to 3 FastPass Plus selections in a day. Well, according to the survey that Robert sent me, Disney is considering some other options. One of the options that they considered was to have 3 advanced selections with a 4th selection available as of 1 p.m. the day you're at the park. So then from there it'll be sort of revolving, means once you use that, you can then book another one based on availability. So that would give you more options once you're there in the park. Another option would be you have your 3 advanced FastPass Plus selections, and then once you use one, then you can do another one. So kind of similar to the traditional FastPass system in that respect. And then a third option that Disney's considering would be you can only get another one after you've used all 3 of your previous selections. Of course, as I said, all this is still testing. It's still just being considered. They're not sure how it's going to work in the future, but it is nice to see that Disney is recognizing guests sort of wanting more out of this system. In addition, park hopping was also part of the survey. Right now, FastPass Plus does not allow you to book FastPass Plus reservations in multiple parks on the same day, but it might in the future. So it's worth not getting worked up over if you're coming to Walt Disney World soon and you're going to be using all of these new features to help better your day, and it doesn't quite go the way you want it to. Don't go crazy, because it's probably going to change down the line. And one more note here, and this one is a very good thing about FastPass Plus. The very, 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 very popular meet and greet for Anna and Elsa from Frozen over in Norway at Epcot. It's been 2, 3, 4 hour long lines. Disney finally has announced that they are moving that pair of characters to the Magic Kingdom, to Princess Fairy Tale Hall, beginning in just over a month on April 20th. And at that point, FastPass Plus will be available, so you don't have to wait in those very, very long lines. Now, there is a little bit of a catch right now, in that anybody who's a Walt Disney World hotel guest gets a 60-day window in which to, in advance, book experiences like this. So right now, hotel guests or future hotel guests who aren't part of the system are able to already book the Anna and Elsa meet and greets because it's within that window. However, annual pass holders cannot, because they only have a 30-day window. And from what I understand, it's already booked up for 2 or 3 weeks after that date. So if it continues to roll forward like that, annual pass holders will never have a chance to book that pair of characters. So unless there's an extra pool that they will make available at the 30-day mark, just like they save some availability for day of bookings as well. So if you show up early in the day and wait in the FastPass Plus kiosk line, you could then book it there and in person. So there's always options available. Just as far as convenience, the most convenience right now goes to Walt Disney World Resort hotel guests. But as I said, a lot of that could change in the future. Now, turning away from all of that, a bit of fun graphic design work has gone up from Disney in honor of March Madness, of course, the NCAA tournament with basketball and all of that. Disney has chimed in with their own March Magic tournament, in which they've selected a whole bunch of very popular Disney attractions from both coasts, Walt Disney World and Disneyland, and are putting them head-to-head in this sort of virtual tournament online, in which fans are going to be able to vote on this attraction versus that one, and they'll narrow it down, and then ultimately there'll be some winners, and every single attraction has their own sort of sports team name and logo that they've created, and they're all fantastic. That's for the Tower of Terror, there's the Hollywood Tower Hotel Lightning, and for the Main Street Electrical Parade, there's the Main Street Electricity, and for the Haunted Mansion, there's Gracie Manor Hitchhikers, and like I said, they've got all these great sports-style logos, and they've hinted at the fact that these logos will probably show up on some merchandise at some point, which everybody is really dying for because the logos are great. You can head to InsideTheMagic.net to see a whole bunch of those. Let's turn away from Disney here to news from Universal Orlando on Friday. They unleashed some new details about the Hogwarts Express train that will be part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Diagon Alley expansion, linking the two parks over there. You know, Disney has their monorail system. Well, now Universal is going to have a train, a real working train, and we didn't know much else as to what was going to be part of that. Well, now we do, and I'm going to warn you, a few of the things that I'm going to say in the next couple of minutes could kind of be spoilery for these experiences. I was actually surprised Universal put out quite as much information as they did. So if you want to be totally surprised when you ride the Hogwarts Express, skip ahead a couple of minutes here. So, of course, guests will arrive to the new area of Universal Studios Florida in Diagon Alley and see the London waterfront. You'll see King's Cross Station. You'll be able to step through platform 9 3/4. Naturally, they're trying to be as authentic to the film and book series as possible. So somehow you will actually enter into platform 9 3/4 through some sort of special effect, I would imagine. You'll see the Hogwarts Express pull into the station with steam and a whistle, and then you are welcome aboard into a train cabin. You sit there, just like the characters in the films did, and then from there you're going to sit in the cabin and look out a window while you're journeying between, moving between the parks. In reality, you are going through the British countryside, and you see characters and creatures, and the trains are going to seat around 200 people per, and the ride's going to be around 7 minutes long. And these windows that you're going to see during that 7-minute journey, not 3D necessarily, but they're not just flat 2D screens. They're going to be something in the middle. Maybe think about the mission space displays that you're looking at. It's kind of got depth to it, but you're not wearing 3D glasses. I'm guessing it's going to be something similar to that type of an experience where it looks realistic, but you don't have to wear clunky 3D glasses or anything. They've actually released a couple of images, 3 images, in fact, of the visuals that you're going to see while you're riding the Hogwarts Express. You can head over to our website to see those. But it's going to combine live special effects, lifelike animation, and lots of technology. The trip from Hogsmeade Station to, or rather the trip from London and Diagon Alley to Hogsmeade and Hogwarts, you're going to see the British countryside, you're going to see Dementors, you're going to see Hedwig flying by, you're going to see Hagrid on Sirius's motorcycle. The trip from Hogsmeade and Hogwarts to London and Diagon Alley, you're going to see Fred and George Weasley flying on broomsticks. Hagrid will be there waving goodbye to you, or hello? No, goodbye. Yeah. Anyway, you're going to see the streets of London, and you'll even see Buckbeak the Hippogriff flying along. I'm sure that's just a sampling of what you'll be seeing aboard this ride. So lots of special effects, lots of technology, lots to look forward to there, including an opening date that we don't know yet. They're still just saying summer at this point. And along the same lines, this one is not explicitly related, though most likely is. Universal posted a audition notice on their careers website that coming up this Wednesday and Thursday on the 19th and 20th, they're auditioning for female singers they're saying the candidates must be able to perform in a British dialect. And they're looking for African-American female singers in the ages of 30 to 60 for a role in a new show at Universal Studios Florida, as well as female singers between 18 and 35. So an interesting range of people there with British dialects. So you can only imagine it's going to have something to do with the wizarding world. One more Universal Orlando note here. If you remember, recently Robin Thicke canceled his Mardi Gras concert, said he would reschedule. Well, he has done just that, and Universal's really sort of bending over backwards for him because he's coming to Universal on June 7th. And that's a full week after Mardi Gras was scheduled to end. Of course, he was going to play as part of Mardi Gras. So they have actually extended the Mardi Gras celebration by an entire week just to accommodate him. So extra week of Mardi Gras. There you go. Now, let's turn to Disneyland, for the big news out there is the return of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It's been closed for about 14 months during a big refurbishment, about 3 months longer than they were originally saying. During that time, around 2/3 of the track has been replaced, and a whole lot of surprises and special effects have been added, particularly in the third lift hill near the end of the ride. There's a lot of sort of explosive new special effects involving dynamite, and I don't want to ruin too much of it for you. If you do want to go see it, of course, we have a full POV video of the entire ride over on our YouTube channel. Originally, we actually have 2 videos on there. Originally, it was not all the effects were working the first time around, so we went back, shot it again, got all of the effects, so you can definitely see all of that. In addition to those new special effects, there's a lot of audio improvements to the ride, or ambient things, sounds of trains, that sort of thing, as well as a fully reconstructed town of Rainbow Ridge. So you can read more about that over on our website as well. Also now open at Downtown Disney out in California at Disneyland. Anaheim is a new Starbucks location. It's a very stylish Starbucks, very big, has some interactive chalkboard that kids seem to be very fond of. Sort of a modern twist on a Starbucks with, of course, a classic Starbucks menu. And free Wi-Fi is available there as well. Also out in California, just a few days ago, there was a flyover scheduled for late night hours over Disneyland, and reportedly that was for filming a new ending to Soarin' over California. Of course, the same ending has been part of that attraction for many, many, many years now, and it seems like a new one may be on the way soon, which is a good thing. And it was announced this week that there's a new merchandise event coming up on June 13th and 14th at Disneyland, themed to The Nightmare Before Christmas. They're kind of taking the Haunted Mansion holiday concept and expanding it to the whole park. Now, don't get too excited. Jack Skellington is not actually taking over the whole park, as cool as that would probably be. It's really just on merchandise. So it's called The Nightmare Before Christmas in Disneyland, and it's going to have a lot of pins. Lots of pins showing what it would be like if Jack Skellington and his Halloween Town gang did take over the park. For example, Scary Teddy and the Tim Burton worm creature, sandworm sort of thing, as if that took over the monorail, for example, as a pin. So it's $90 to attend the event, which includes the opportunity to purchase merchandise, and there's also going to be trading, some other activities, some signing opportunities, a silent auction, and event T-shirts, and I'm sure there'll be decorations and all of that sort of thing. Now, recently I had mentioned that I went to the 5th Annual Entertainment Designer Forum out here in Orlando, where top theme park designers and Hollywood folks all got together for a charity event to basically discuss the industry and answer questions and meet with fans and all that sort of thing. It was a great event, and from Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, and well beyond. And I wrote quite a long sort of report from the event with a lot of great advice that was given out, along with some fun stories. So if you want to see more and read all about what happened at the event, head over to our website to see that as well. Now, last week I had mentioned a teaser that Disney and Marvel had sent out with the word Spark on it in purple, and it was teasing the next line in the Disney Kingdoms series of comics. Well, now all has been revealed, and it is indeed, as you may have guessed, a Figment comic. This is based on the story behind Journey into Imagination from Epcot, that little lovable purple dragon that everybody loves. Not only Figment, but also Dreamfinder is in there, and a much younger version of Dreamfinder. This is kind of the backstory behind it, how Dreamfinder and Figment came to be, with a little bit of steampunk flair thrown into Dreamfinder's look as well. If you look real closely, there's great artwork we have over on our website. If you look real close at the vest that Dreamfinder is wearing, the Imagineers included a fun little nod to a particularly familiar symbol from Epcot as well. This new comic is going to tell the never-before told origin story of Dreamfinder and Figment. And yes, the writers of the comic are indeed working with Imagineer Tony Baxter, as well as many other Imagineers, so they're really going to do it right, and it is set to debut in June for a 5-issue series of 32 pages each, and I am really looking forward to it. And actually, just today, I also received from Marvel a first look at the first issue's comic cover, the variant cover from Imagineer Tom Morris, so you can definitely go check that out and see what it's going to look like. Now let's move to the world of movies. Overseas, actually, Frozen is just arriving in Japan. Finally, it's seems like it's been out forever in the United States, but it's just making it to Japan. And of course, it was number one at the box office in its opening weekend there, with just under $10 million, or the equivalent of $10 million. That's actually the biggest weekend ever for an animated Disney movie in that market. So Frozen continues to do very well. And other exciting movie news here in the United States. Of course, Maleficent is on the way in a couple of months, starring Angelina Jolie. And the latest look at that film just came out today. It has a grand picture of Maleficent with wings. That was the big revelation. Apparently, Maleficent was, a fairy, just like others at some point, and she had wings. And then they were, as she says, from the quote that they released, they were stolen from her. A little bit of mystery there. They also released a video clip of Maleficent with wings flying around. Very different look. A trailer will be coming out tomorrow, a new full trailer that will show even more of that. And coming up at the end of this week is the release of Muppets Most Wanted into theaters on March 21st, and I've actually seen the movie already. I'm not going to talk about it this week. I will be talking about that on next week's show, along with a whole lot more Muppet fun. So if you're a fan of the Muppets, you're not going to want to miss next week's show. But with that said, here's a little bit of Muppet news. The great Gonzo is going to be taking part in a NASCAR event on Sunday, March 23rd. He will be giving the drivers Start Your Engines command as the Grand Marshal for the Auto Club 400 at the Auto Club Speedway, which will be televised live on Fox at noon Pacific time. And if you do want to see more from the Muppets, definitely head over to our website. Jeremiah Dawes, I sent him out to a great press junket that was held a few days ago out in California with all the top stars from the film, including Muppets, Kermit and Miss Piggy, and Constantine, Sam Eagle, as well as Tina Fey, Ricky Gervais, and more. The filmmakers, more stars, etc. So you can see some video and read a whole lot more from all of that over on our website. Continuing with movies here, it's been a while since we've heard anything about the Magic Kingdom movie that Jon Favreau has been working on, and recently he gave an interview in which he is still indicating that he is wanting to make that film. It's just not quite moving along. He said, quote, "Part of what's complicated about it is you're mixing all the different lands and characters together, but between the Avengers and the Lego movie, there seems to be a way to do it that doesn't confuse the audience. Hopefully I'll get to make that movie with Disney soon." So he says Jungle Book is the current thing that he is involved with, but ultimately Magic Kingdom is something he still wants to take part in. Now, in the world of music, Walt Disney Records has announced a remix album called Deconstructed, featuring remixes of classic and current music from the Disney catalog from DJs and producers, all in an electronic dance music style. Songs will include from The Lion King and Frozen and Tron Legacy, Monsters University, The Incredibles, The Muppets, Toy Story, Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, Main Street Electrical Parade, and more. The Deconstructed album will be available on April 22nd. Now, here's something that shocked me this week. Would you believe that D23 is 5 years old already? The official Disney fan club. I can remember wondering, they were teasing, "Are you 23?" That seems like it wasn't that long ago. But if you really think about it, there's been, 3 D23 expos? So clearly that's been quite a number of years. But yeah, 5 years old. It's crazy to think about that already. Coming up tomorrow in Portland, Oregon, random city, is the annual shareholders meeting for the Walt Disney Company. Always entertaining. It'll be streamed audio live online. We'll see if anybody stands up and asks about the potential return of Song of the South this time around. They didn't last time. After, I think it was 2 times ago, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, addressed the question and basically said, no, it's never happening. So after that, nobody asked it last year, but before that, somebody always asked about Song of the South every single year. So we'll see if that happens again, or if anything else interesting comes out of that meeting tomorrow. And final bit of news here is something Inside the Magic related, actually a couple of somethings. One is over the weekend, I was actually sick again this weekend, which is why I'm recording this on Monday. But I took that time, a little bit of downtime, didn't have anything else to do, fortunately, finally. And I took that time to spend the entire weekend working on the Inside the Magic website, giving a lot of much needed upgrades that I've been meaning to do for a very long time. If you go to the homepage now, you'll notice a lot of new things, very similar look, but improvements, better features, easier to see articles, sort of larger graphics, more organized. You'll see, scroll down a little bit and you'll see boxes that break down all the latest stories from Walt Disney World and Disneyland and Universal and SeaWorld and, reviews and special events. It's all very easy to see at a quick glance there on the homepage. So that's an improvement. In addition, now here's the big part. I actually launched a new blog over on the website. Now, over the last, 9 years of Inside the Magic now, we started just Disney, expanded from there to start to include other theme parks, expanded from there to start to include more special events and conventions, expanded from there to, there's just no end to all of the things that I am passionate about and want to cover and bring all this entertainment and excitement to you. Along the way, have accumulated quite a lot of listeners and fans, particularly on Facebook. That has grown tremendously. And as I continue to cover more and more of these things, I've realized there's sort of a rift growing here where there's the people who want only 100% happy, family-friendly things, and then there's people like me who want everything, whether it's family-friendly or maybe not so much. So I've now separated the two concepts there. Inside the Magic, the website, InsideTheMagic.net, Inside the Magic, the Facebook page, the Twitter account, all of that is the home for family-friendly stuff. Same sort of coverage that I've been giving for years and years. Nothing's really going to change much there. But now I've spawned off something new called Outside the Magic. Imagine that. It took me forever to come up with that name. I bet you can never guess where I came up with it. So, Outside the Magic is the new sort of sub-blog on the website with a it's got a darker color scheme. It's definitely differentiated from the main site, and that's because it's really intended for and the audience, those of you out there who want all of the other sort of more extreme content, if you will. It's still going to focus on themed entertainment, the same types of coverage, but allowing me to more freely share things that are intended for an older audience without worry of offending anybody who's sensitive to that sort of thing, or for those who shouldn't be looking at that won't. So a completely separate section of the website. In addition, I've created a new Twitter account, Outside the Magic, a new Facebook page, Outside the Magic as well. So if you're a fan of what I've been doing for a long time, there's not really a whole lot's going to change there, other than some of the more extreme things. You're thinking about Halloween stuff that's not in a theme park, these independent events that really are way out there. That won't be on Inside the Magic so much as Outside the Magic now. Other local events, conventions, and special events that are just really sort of pushing the boundaries of what I normally cover, it's going to be moved over there, and it'll also allow me to actually go to even more events in the future. Things that I normally wouldn't have felt comfortable bringing to the Inside the Magic audience, I can now bring to the Outside the Magic audience. So if you are interested in that, if you are if you probably should be an adult to look at that section, because there's not going to really be any restrictions on the types of things that I'm going to be covering there, other than to say it is still all going to fall into the same basic umbrella of things that I've been covering, themed events and immersive experiences and that sort of thing, the things that I really love to see and cover and bring to you. So there it is. Go check it out. Yeah, you can find it at InsideTheMagic.net/outside. Makes sense. Or I've actually registered a number of domains for it. OutsideTheMagic.com. Actually got a .com this time, as well as OutsideTheMagic.net to match the InsideTheMagic.net. So anyway, there it is. Go check it out if it's your kind of thing, and I'll definitely be posting a lot more of that coming up. Actually, starting in just a few days, I'm going to be going to MegaCon, the big pop culture comic event that happens every year here in Orlando, and I'm going to be doing even more for that this year, now being able to share even more of it on that separate blog. So look for that in just a few days. And that'll do it for your news from around the world this week. This week's tip is one that I want to share from what I was mentioning earlier with MyMagic Plus and particularly FastPass Plus. You go on the website, you try to book your advanced reservations, and you put in your party size and maybe link it up to other people, and you might run into a problem of not being able to find a time that works for you, or even finding a time at all for some of the more popular attractions for when you want to be there. So the tip that I have, try doing it for smaller parties around the same time. Perhaps you could do it for just one person, then you could find a time for that. Do it for one person, you could find a time for that. And if they're close by to each other, well, you can just kind of show up at the same time within that window, and maybe you could even go in together, or just stagger it a little bit and treat it as single rider. Or, more importantly, you could then sort of move things around little by little if you really want to play with it a lot, and there's the potential for smaller parties to have a better shot at getting those ride reservations than the larger parties. So there's a little tip for FastPass Plus. I'm sure there will be many, many more of those in the future as Disney begins to sort of narrow down exactly the details of that whole system, and there will be, I'm sure, a lot of ways to make it work for everybody that much better. Everybody else, email your tips into tips@insidethemagic.net.
Here it comes. An Inside the Magic Blu-ray review.
Actually doubling up with two Blu-ray reviews this week of both movies that I thoroughly enjoyed, that many Disney fans have enjoyed. In fact, pretty much the whole world has enjoyed this first one. It is Frozen, a tremendous success for Disney, a phenomenon unto itself, and finally it is home this week, tomorrow, on Blu-ray in the US. Now this Blu-ray, I'm not, of course, not going to review the film itself. I've done that already, other than to simply say it's Frozen. I'm sure you've seen it 78 times already. You've heard this song even more than that, and it is just there forever. So moving past the movie itself, the Blu-ray release looks fantastic. One of the I don't know what it is, and it could just be that it's animation and the blues and the hues of it really was striking to me. It looked much crisper and just gorgeous in the high definition, just watching it at home. I can't explain what the quality of what it looks like, what qualities that it has that makes it look that much better than even other recent animation releases. And maybe that recently I've just been looking at older titles that have been upgraded to high definition, that sort of thing. But really, it's just a stunning release on Blu-ray, which is what it should be. I mean, it's a beautiful film for sure. As I was flipping through the chapters, kind of looking at the film, I did notice that Chapter 5 stops conveniently right on the beginning of this song, Let It Go. So if you have somebody in your family that really, really likes this song and likes to play it over and over and sing it over and over, be prepared when you bring home this Blu-ray. They're making it very easy to simply go, skip, 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 and there you are at this song. So be prepared on that. Now, moving past the movie itself, there's the short, Get a Horse, is included. And here's where this release was really falling flat for the United States. Get a Horse is a phenomenal short. I loved it in the theaters. And it's really, really made for 3D. For some reason, Disney has not released Frozen on Blu-ray in 3D in the United States. This seems to be a tactic in which they're probably going to release it a few months from now in the super mega amazing version in 3D with more bonus features and all that, and make you buy it again. It is being released in 3D overseas. Now, you can get the 3D version, I believe, online, but you can't get a horse in 3D anywhere, which is really disappointing because I watched it in 2D for the very first time off of this Blu-ray, and it's still a great short, but it's much better in 3D. So, it is disappointing that it's not available now in any way in that format, but I'm sure it will be sometime in the future. Likewise, Frozen really benefits a lot from 3D as well. So it's, it looks great in 2D, but I wish I had a 3D copy on Blu-ray. Moving on to the bonus features. Again, it seems like this release may have been rushed out a little bit. There's some good bonus features, but nothing for the caliber of this film, for the amount of excitement that is surrounding this film. I expected some amazing bonus features, and instead you just kind of got, they're pretty good. One of them has already been released online. You've probably already seen it, the Making of Frozen musical feature, where it doesn't really actually talk about the making of Frozen, but really it's just a sort of a bonus musical bit of entertainment starring Josh Gad and Kristen Bell and some of the other folks that made the film, and it's very amusing, but it's already been released online, so now you get it on Blu-ray. Then there's the other sort of major bonus feature is called Defrosted: The Journey from Hans Christian Andersen's Snow Queen, and that one is nice. It is a good look at how sort of this Disney's look at the Snow Queen started so many years ago. Alice Davis is involved in this feature, extra bonus feature, and talking about her late husband Mark Davis's work on developing a ride that never came to be based on that story, as well as other sort of artwork surrounding the concept, and how the look of Elsa was inspired by these really old drawings and pieces of artwork, and all of that's great, and then it kind of just, that's it. It's not as, I'm really looking for that sort of really in-depth everything about Frozen. What has made it this amazing phenomenon? I guess Disney simply didn't have time to create all of that before getting this thing released on Blu-ray. So I have a feeling we'll be seeing that on the super mega version of this somewhere down the line with the 3D version. There's also 3 deleted scenes, which are very much just sort of storyboards, a couple of new Kristoff introductions that never made into the film, as well as one that I think has also been released online, in which Elsa at one point was going to be the true villain of the film. So it's kind of interesting, but they're just kind of deleted storyboarded scenes. And then there's some music videos, Demi Lovato, as well as some international ones. Overall, the release is good if you just want to watch Frozen. Beyond that, you kind of watch these bonus features once, and that's kind of the end. I wouldn't say, if you already own a digital copy of this movie, you downloaded it off of iTunes or whatever, there's not really a reason to go rush out and get this Blu-ray, because it doesn't offer that much more. I mean, it's nice to have it on a disc, but I would, if you have 3D capability and you really want that, I would just wait for that version. Or, from what I understand, the UK version is region free, so you could order it from there and get it. I haven't done that, but just an option. So that is it for my Frozen review. Moving on to the second movie. The other movie that is coming out on Blu-ray tomorrow is Saving Mr. Banks. Now, this movie also looks great in high definition. Of course, I love the movie. I really, really love this movie. I raved about it when I saw it a couple of times, and it sucks you right in. As soon as you put in the Blu-ray, it just draws you in, and I want to watch the whole thing. I was like, 10-20 minutes into it, I was like, whoa, you know what, I need to watch the bonus features, because that's what I'm here to do. But I mean, it's just a great movie. On Blu-ray, it's kind of this interesting thing where, the movie is obviously set decades ago, and it has this, period look to it, but it's also got this modern crispness to the Blu-ray, so it's an interesting split between the two that somehow works. Now, the bonus features, I was really, really hoping this would have some sort of really in-depth bonus feature exploring all of the details and the minutia of Saving Mr. Banks, all the things hidden in the background and the references and all the the original audio for the recordings from the P.L. Travers meetings at the Walt Disney Studio. None of that. There's none of that on this release. In fact, there's very, very small amount of extras. Unfortunately, this was just begging for these, incredibly long and intricate sort of documentary style things of the reality of all of this, and none of that really happened. I don't know if Disney just doesn't want to show how much they made up for the film to dramatize it or not, or what it is. I mean, there is a nice feature called Walt Disney Studios Pop-ins to the Present, in which, it goes with the director to the Walt Disney Studios. They walk around. Richard Sherman's there. They talk about a lot of the things, take you to a few places around the studios that are seen, sort of the real places that are seen in the film. but it never really goes too far in depth into any of it. There's also another bonus feature called Let's Go Fly a Kite, which is sort of their rap moment on the film. It's in that rehearsal room that you see quite often in the movie, and it's got Richard Sherman at the piano, and the cast and the crew are all there, and they're singing. It seems like an impromptu moment of Let's Go Fly a Kite, and it's nice. It's funny, and it's fun and amusing. There's 3 deleted scenes that seem to be full, ready-to-go scenes that literally were just cut from the film. There's nothing rough about them at all, and they're definitely interesting to watch, though I can see why they were cut. But I really wanted more. I wanted, a commentary track to really talk about all of the. They said that they went for hours and hours and hours into the archives and the research library and just extensive homework for this film, and didn't really offer any depth to any of that, unfortunately. So both Frozen and Saving Mr. Banks kind of lacking in the extra department. I was hoping for so much more. It's all just on one disc. They didn't include a second bonus disc or anything. So Frozen, I would expect to see more in the future. Saving Mr. Banks, there probably won't be another release. This is it. And it's a great film, certainly worth owning. I'm glad I have it on Blu-ray, but I wouldn't, rush out and get it just for the extras. But if you love the movie like I did, then definitely get it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I launched a whole new section of the Inside the Magic website called Outside the Magic, offering sort of a further look at things that normally wouldn't be a part, or just kind of separating things that maybe shouldn't have been there in the first place. So keeping with that theme here, I was thinking, something I haven't really talked about too much here on the show are things that adults like to do around Walt Disney World. I was thinking to myself, what, with no kids, what can you do? What are you free to do that's still part of the everyday fun of the parks without any constraints of being with this big family of all ages? For me, of course, as everybody knows, I'm big into the Halloween events. I like the spookier side of things that are really targeted toward adults, certainly, or at least teenagers and up. Of course, enjoying some fine dining once in a while is a great way to escape the kids as well. But I was thinking, what if I run through some of the parks here and think about specifically in each park, what are great things for adults to do when they're not burdened by children following them around? And of course, in the Magic Kingdom, the thing that comes to mind instantly is the Haunted Mansion. A lot of kids are scared of that. It's my favorite attraction for many, many reasons. Of course, plenty of children enjoy it and go on it every day. But you are in, your own little doom buggy. You're riding around either by yourself or with, whoever you're with, and you can certainly take many trips around there and sort of be free of that child experience and just enjoy it however you want to. And of course, it's just a fun, spooky adventure. Now, the music you're hearing in the background here is really the better option. From years ago at the Magic Kingdom, it was Alien Encounter, was one of my favorite Disney attractions of all time. Unfortunately, not there anymore. Stitch's Great Escape is just not an option for me. Not the same and not even good. So unfortunately, Alien Encounter is not an option for adults anymore. But when it was, I certainly always enjoyed it. Over at Epcot, same kind of thing. You think about Epcot of the past, and people used to say Epcot is not for kids because kids would be bored there. Well, I disagree because I was a kid there and I loved it. But it's true, not every kid would have found that edutainment style of an attraction to be all that attractive. So Spaceship Earth, certainly for some of the same reasons the Haunted Mansion is great. You just kind of sit in your little vehicle. You can enjoy Spaceship Earth unto yourself and really take in any educational aspect of it that you want, or just simply enjoy it as a nice, slow-moving, dark adventure through time. Of course, if you can imagine Jeremy Irons or Walter Cronkite being there instead of Judi Dench, that would be a good thing. The other one that comes to mind currently for Epcot is probably Captain EO, since that's a bit of a throwback attraction. I don't know how many kids are interested in going to see Captain EO, but I do enjoy going to that once in a while, and I'm sure its days are numbered again. I can't imagine it's going to be there forever. But while it is there, it's certainly worth a trip inside every once in a while. Over at Hollywood Studios, this is a little bit harder one to come up with because so much there really is friendly to all ages, but I think the thrilling side of the park over on the right, Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror, is probably the closest thing to adult-style entertainment there. It is exciting, it is thrilling, a little bit of a higher height restriction. Of course, lots of kids go on it, but definitely some great fun for adults over there, as well as that new Brown Derby Lounge is a great place to just kind of sit down and enjoy. You can have a drink, have some small bites, and definitely a good place to relax as well. Animal Kingdom was really puzzling to me. Where do adults go at Animal Kingdom? Where would kids not want to go at Animal Kingdom became the question, and I was thinking maybe the trails would be the least kid-friendly area, and it's kind of not terribly adult-friendly either because it's really long and hot and tiresome, but at the same time there's a lot of really cool things to see there, a lot of great animals to look at, a lot of great exhibits, and certainly a lot of potential of being on your own or away from everybody else and just kind of doing your own thing as an adult. Not to say that there won't be kids there, but that's the only really thing that I could think of in that park that didn't directly always involve kids. Jumping coast out to California at Disneyland, I thought maybe the Indiana Jones ride of all of them seemed the most adult to me. It's dark and creepy in the queue, and then you get on the ride and it throws you around. There's definitely a higher height restriction for it. Of course, Indiana Jones would generally appeal, I think, today to people who grew up with that rather than maybe today's children as much. I'm sure kids today love Indiana Jones as well, but there's definitely an affinity for it for a lot of adults. And then, of course, if you have access to Club 33, that's a great place to be an adult in Disneyland as well. And finally, over at California Adventure, the Carthay Circle is just the obvious option. Carthay Circle Lounge and Carthay Circle Dining, it's my favorite spot in all of Disney California Adventure. It is just a wonderful restaurant, and it's so comfortable, and the food is phenomenal. And also, it's if you venture over to the Grand Californian, just kind of lounging around there is a good place as well. So, just throwing some of my own thoughts on sort of an adult perspective on the parts. I actually asked the question on Twitter as well. Had some good responses. A couple of people, Aaron and Ollie, wrote back and said drinking around the World Showcase at Epcot, certainly an adult activity by definition, but something that a lot of people certainly enjoy to do. Joey specifically said the Tambu Lounge is a great place to hang out as an adult. Jay said this is a great one, actually, hanging around to the final late park hours. A lot of kids are asleep. A lot of kids have crashed at that point, or they've already gone back to the hotel, or they're sleeping in a stroller or whatever. Very, very late at night is definitely a good time to be an adult in the park. And then Goofy Master also said, I thought this one was kind of amusing, said Test Track. For some reason, is his adult getaway from the kids. It's just sort of a fun thrill that I guess he's able to enjoy without being attached to any of the youngins. So, an interesting topic that I don't think I've ever really discussed here on the show, keeping very much in line with the new outside the Magic blog that I have set up over on the website, outsidethemagic.com, and all of that. So, go check out the new site if you are indeed old enough to do so, and write to me if you want to chime in with some additional activities in and around the parks that you find are particularly enjoyable or targeted at adults, just for a little bit of a different flavor there.
Hey, Ricky, this is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Inside the Magic listener feedback.
All right, let's go through some listener feedback here to round out the show. John writes in with a response to last week and says someone called in on listener feedback on show 466 asking about the Finding Nemo subs closure, and you had mentioned it was about 10 years. Us long-time listeners remember you were a Haunted Mansion butler for the Dream Job thing in 2007, and you ended up at the opening. So, I was close, 10 years, 7 years... kind of sounds the same. 10, 7, 10. No. All right. So it was a little bit less time than I thought, but, it's been a while was my point. Yes, Nemo subs were definitely due for a refurbishment, but thanks. Next email is from Lauren, who writes, first off, I want to say I love your show so much and make sure I never miss an episode. I'd really appreciate you and any knowledgeable listeners' advice on this situation. My family and I are traveling from London to California and arriving in Anaheim on the 23rd of June. We're staying at the Disneyland Hotel and obviously going to the parks until June 26th. VidCon is taking place in Anaheim from June 26th to 28th, and I know that the official Disney day for VidCon and the group photo and stuff is on June 29th. So my question for you is, do you or any of your listeners have any idea if the parks will be extra crowded on the days that I am there, the days leading up to VidCon? And do you have any further advice or tips for Disneyland at that time of year in general? We were at Disney World for July 4th a few years ago and found it to be too overwhelmingly crowded and vowed never to go there during that holiday. Again, we've since gone to Disney World mid-June and found it so much better. Please don't tell me that Disneyland will be like the 4th of July crowds because of VidCon. Lauren, thanks very much for the email and for listening regularly. No, don't worry. It's not going to be 4th of July style crowds. Disneyland is always very crowded. There's a lot of locals who go to the parks all the time, and particularly during the summer, it's very, very crowded. But I wouldn't say that VidCon specifically is going to really affect the grand scheme of the parks too much. I mean, major conventions go to the Anaheim Convention Center all the time, and while those crowds do, a good portion of that do go over to Disneyland, it's not so much that the park is just overwhelmed by all of them at the same time. It's kind of a smattering of people that make it over there. So, I imagine you are going to run into that crowd while you're there, but I wouldn't worry about it turning into a July 4th, New Year's, Christmas kind of crowded. It's going to be summer crowded for sure, so prepare for that, but it won't be just that, crazy, overwhelming, can't handle it sort of crowd. Mary writes in and says, first, I'd like to say a big thank you for producing such a wonderful show. I live in the UK, and listening to your show on my commute to university makes me feel close to the magic every week. My question regarding the new FastPass Plus system, if you know what the deal is with cast members, I will be participating in my second college program this summer, joining the entertainment team. I know that now that the system has changed, and this is likely to change how cast members can use it, my friends and I became pros last summer at working the FastPass system, which is a necessity in the height of summer crowds. However, if only 3 fast passes are available for guests at the moment, is this still the case for cast members? Would love to know the answer for this. It would be a nightmare to not be able to access any fast passes and stand in a 200-minute line for the likes of Toy Story Mania. A great question there. Cast members can engage in the same sort of system in that, let's say you want to go to the park one day, you show up, you can still go to the kiosk, you can still grab your up to 3 reservations for the day. With regards to the online system, I don't know that everything has fully rolled out to cast members yet, but I have a feeling by the time you get here in the summer, the rollout will have taken place and you'll have access to it, and who knows, maybe cast members will even get some extra perks. Probably not, but at the very least, you'll be able to go to the park and use the kiosks and make your ride reservations. That way, they do have a certain number of availability for FastPass Plus slots that they keep for every day. So if you show up at the beginning of the day, just like the old system where you go up to a thing, a box, and you get your pass, in this case, you'll be able to go up to a kiosk and get up your 3 reservations for the day and hopefully avoid that 200-minute line. Next email's from Jonathan, who writes, first, I want to say a huge thank you for keeping me connected to Walt Disney World and all things Disney-related on a weekly basis. It's hard being an ex-cast member from the United Kingdom. That's weird. I swear I didn't do this on purpose. That's 3 emails from the United Kingdom in a row. All 3 talking about, trips. Anyway, moving on. Jonathan writes, today I decided to look at booking a trip to Disneyland in November and was wondering if you had any information regarding the holiday season, for example, when it starts. I was looking at the first week of November, not sure if that's Halloween season. Jonathan, Halloween season ends immediately after Halloween. There might be like a 1-day layover there, but it immediately transitions into Christmas time. Usually takes about a week, and then after that it is Christmas. Go for the rest of the year and even into January. So if you're looking at the first week of November, you may actually miss some of the Christmas time entertainment. Haunted Mansion Holiday will certainly be going on, but you'll be just after Halloween and just before Christmas, so you'll be kind of in that weird transitional period. I maybe would recommend, if you want to see all of that, I would recommend going into the second week of November, but not too close to Thanksgiving. That's usually a good time to go, because you'll see all the holiday stuff, and the big crowds haven't quite descended yet. Couple of more emails. We'll wrap this up. Jack writes, I went to Universal Studios Hollywood with my family recently, and they had something called Front Row Pass or something like that. And what we did is pay a fee, and we were able to skip the line once per ride, and this was great. Now, my nephew and his family are coming down from Arizona to spend 3 days with us at the Disneyland Hotel. I heard you can get in the park an hour early if you are a hotel guest. Is that true? And does Disney offer anything like a front-of-the-line pass the way Universal did? Great questions there, Jack. Yes, on certain days, the Disney hotels get you into the parks an hour early, so you could certainly take advantage of that. You can just find out that information when you check in. But no, Disney does not offer any sort of extra purchase, front-of-the-line, express pass, anything like that, like Universal does. So you're just going to have to use the FastPass system like everybody else. The only exception is that sometimes when you're staying at the Disney hotels, they will offer some extra FastPass perks. For example, when Cars Land was very new, they were offering some passes, and World of Color, they were offering some passes to the popular attractions if you stayed at the hotels, so you could have that sort of advantage that way. You could get on those rides more easily, but they don't always do that. It just depends on what's going on, so you can certainly again ask when you check in. And next is an email from Joseph from Scotland, continuing with the overseas theme here. Joseph writes, it's been a few years since my last visit to Orlando, and since I emailed you last for some advice for what's going on when our trip was planned, and the advice really helped and made our family's visit amazing. Now I come to you for our next trip. My family have decided that for my 21st birthday, we'd go to Orlando from the 22nd of May for 2 weeks next year, and my mom has discovered that our trip falls around Memorial Day and is worried the parks will be busy and overcrowded, but I can see this is a chance to be a part of another great event, as we were there for the 40th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom. My question is, what are the parks like during this time? Are they busy and prone to over capacity? Also, what can we expect from this time of visit, events and such? I know we were just missing the Flower and Garden Festival, but are there any other events going on at that time? And since I'm Scottish, I don't really know what the atmosphere is around Memorial Day, and wonder if you could describe it to me. Well, Joseph, first let me say Memorial Day, while it is a holiday, an important holiday, it's not exactly a hugely celebrated holiday, so don't expect a big 4th of July style celebration. It's kind of just a day off for most people. But however, this year there is going to be the 24-hour Rock Your Disney Side party, where the park, let's say you said you're coming to Orlando, so the Magic Kingdom is going to be open for 24 hours. So that certainly is going to be a big event that's going to attract a lot of people. So you're going to want to be looking out for that, because that is going to take place on Memorial Day weekend. So if you come out for that, it's certainly something to be aware of if you're going to go to the Magic Kingdom. You'll have a lot of hours, and especially the late night hours will give you a chance to really see quite a bit without, it's going to be kind of a crazy event. Lots of characters will be out, a lot of partying going on in the park, certainly unusual. So you'll be able to enjoy that. So definitely a special event there. Other than that, Memorial Day weekend is usually pretty crowded because it's a 3-day weekend. All 3-day weekends tend to be crowded. So if you're looking to avoid the crowds, not the best weekend to go. But if you want to take part in a very special event, that would be a great time to do it. And that'll do it for listener feedback this week. And that about wraps up show 467. Some fun this week. A couple of Blu-ray reviews, which, great movies, not necessarily the best releases as far as bonus features go, but if you love the movies, they're worth picking up, although you might want to wait for Frozen if you have a 3D display. Wait for that version to come out down the line, because I imagine it will at some point, though Disney hasn't announced anything quite yet. In addition, of course, the excitement recently over the last couple of days, I've been cracking away and coding away and doing a lot of graphic work on the website, so definitely head over to InsideTheMagic.net and click around, scroll up and down the homepage and look at sort of the improvements there. Great, what I hope is an easier way to stay on top of everything that I post, enabling me to also post more regularly, more frequently, more easily, and share a lot more more fun content, as well as expanding the coverage even further in the new Outside the Magic blog over at insidethemagic.net/outside or just outsidethemagic.com. Also, make sure to like Outside the Magic on Facebook, as well as follow Outside the Magic on Twitter to sort of stay on top of the more extreme themed entertainment. A lot more sort of out there pop culture fun, maybe with a little bit of an adult flair to it every once in a while. Not always, but has the possibility there. Anything that just didn't fit the Inside the Magic mold is now going to go there. So you can, if you are the right audience for that, and nobody out there who's too young, don't go do that. It's not for you. But if if you're old enough or you want to enjoy that sort of out there entertainment, that is going to be the place for it. And I'm not going to talk too much more about that here on the show, because this is Inside the Magic. Maybe I'll do an occasional Outside the Magic podcast, but for the most part, the goal here is to keep Inside the Magic completely family friendly at all times, by popular request from many of you. So that's the goal here with the new sort of sub website. So hopefully you enjoy it, for those of you who enjoy that sort of thing. I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. And thanks to all of you for listening each and every week. Have a magical week. Bye.
There's a great big beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.